Hello, my name is Clara Deser and I am a climate scientist. I'm a senior scientist at the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Boulder, Colorado. My research and the research of my group focuses on climate around the globe and how different parts of the world are connected and how the oceans and the atmosphere and the sea ice and the vegetation all communicate and give us our climate and how it might change in the future. Talking about how we use our computer models of the climate system. These are mathematical models that describe our atmosphere and ocean and land and sea ice and snow cover. And we use these models to understand our present-day climate, but of course now we're trying to understand what will happen to climate in the future as we continue to emit burn a lot of fossil fuels. So I'm going to be talking about what the outlook is for our climate in North America over the next 50 years or so, 5 decades, and to understand how well we can characterize the changes that we are expecting due to man-made climate change, and also then how natural variability of climate will always be in the background. And so you can never say this is purely a change due to human activity. There could also be some component that's due to natural variability. And just to, understand that's the reality of our climate system. I think I got into climate science from my love of maps. I loved making maps, and I liked understanding the information that I could glean from looking at maps. First, for 1 year of my undergrad, I went to Smith College, which was a small women's college in western Massachusetts. And I started in geology. I wanted to do some kind of environmental science. And I realized that wasn't for me. And so it's okay if you make a mistake. There are no mistakes. And then I transferred and I went to MIT in Boston. So that was a very dramatic change of lifestyle and setting. And at MIT, I studied, I was in the Department of Earth and Planetary Science, and I started in geology and then quickly gravitated to the meteorology classes. I took a lot of physics and math. I did a lot of music at MIT. And the classes in meteorology that I took, they were all in the graduate program. They didn't have any undergrad classes at the time. But, they were very welcoming. I could audit and sit in on the classes, and I just found that I really enjoyed that type of science. And then the summer of my junior year, that was kind of a pivotal time, I got to do a research project with a professor that summer. And it was a very hot summer in Boston, and I sweated sitting in that chair, and I realized that I really liked the process of doing research. And that was sort of my first, light bulb that went off, that this might actually be a career path for me. And then I graduated from MIT way back in 1982, Stone Age. And then I needed a break from school, and I worked as an oceanographer at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute on Cape Cod, outside of Boston. And I enjoyed that a lot. I went on ships a lot and across the Gulf Stream and enjoyed it. But then I realized during that year that I did want to go to graduate school. And in those days, you had to make a choice between oceanography and atmospheric science. They weren't combined as they are in many departments today. Those two disciplines are actually combined. And again, I came back to this first love of making maps. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of oceanographic data that you could actually display spatially. So I went to an atmospheric science department. I went to the University of Washington in Seattle. And that was one of the best things I've ever done. And I had a great, it was really important for me to find the right advisor. And I found John Michael Wallace, and some of you may actually know him through his textbook, Wallace and Hobbes. That's a very popular, entry-level graduate course for dynamic and physical meteorology. So he was just a wonderful mentor. And so I did my PhD with him. It took me about 6.5 years. I did not get a master's along the way. I went right from the bachelor's to the PhD. And then I got a postdoc position in Boulder, Colorado at the University of Colorado. And one thing led to another, and I started to get a grant proposal funded and had little kids and sort of started to make my life there. And then a position opened up at the National Center for Atmospheric Research, a scientist position. And I joined NCAR in 1997. And I'm now the head of the climate analysis section at NCAR. And I enjoy NCAR very much. My advice is you just need to keep exploring, because the most important thing is you need to find truly, what you are uniquely interested in and the way that you think. And if you're going to sustain a career in any field, it has to be something that you really feel just an affinity for and you're really curious about and you feel also comfortable with. So at MIT, there's a lot of course, math and physics and a lot of theory. And that was very important for me, to have as an underpinning. But I realized that's not, my specialty. And so then I had to find my way, and that's why I didn't go on at MIT as a graduate student. It just wasn't really the right fit for me. So I just would encourage you, you have to explore yourself.